If you want just one reason to play the new Sunbreaker, here it is. Watch this clip. Watch this clip. That's right. One throwing hammer. One of them. Killing a wizard fully shielded, fully HP, easy peasy. The new Sunbreaker and the Burning Maul super are fantastic, and I'm going to do a quick review of all the abilities and why I'm excited to play this class long term going into Forsaken. If you just look at it, you might have a pretty good idea. Let's get into it. The first ability we have is Throwing Hammer, which is literally you just throwing a hammer. It's a little tinier hammer than the one you see in the picture, but it is a hammer that you huck with fire damage attached to it or solar damage attached to it. So that does mean it'll pop solar shields if you use it against it. Now, if you pick up the hammer after you hit your target, you'll get it back. The entire melee regen. You can throw it over and over and over again. And even if you miss, if you go pick up the hammer, you'll get it back. Now, this is ridiculous. This is honestly insanity because you can chain this thing 20, 30, 40 times if you would like, and honestly do a melee throwing build if you would like. And you'd be surprised at the damage it can dish out. Now, the reason why the damage becomes so surprising is Roaring Flames. Anytime you get solar ability kills, whether it's your melee, your grenade, or your super, you're going to get a stacking Roaring Flame buff. It stacks up to 3, and it increases the damage of all of your abilities. So if you're killing things with your hammer, and then you decide to throw a grenade, yep, that's going to do more damage. I think that this photo does a pretty good job of showcasing this damage buff. There were 3 enemies in a line, and I threw one of my thermite grenades. It killed the first one, then the next one took more damage, and the next one took even more damage. I don't know the exact math on this, but that's like double the damage. That's like double the damage of your grenade. So the synergy on this thing can be pretty ridiculous, because if you're looking at the damage numbers of the hammer, they can get pretty out of this world as well. If I'm being honest, I don't know what the hell the calculations are on the damage for this thing. Some of the photos I have are 6,500 damage. One of them, when I have 0 stacks, was 9,000 damage, and then another one where I have 3 stacks, I'm getting like 11,000 damage. All I know is that this is an unlimited melee ability from a range that will one-shot a ton of different enemies, make your grenades and your super stronger, and it's not even done yet, because this perk gives it healing. That's right, my friends. Tireless Warrior allows you to start your health regeneration whenever you pick up a hammer after hitting an enemy. So you throw a 11,000 damage hammer at something, kill it, and then slide into it for free healing. It's insanity. This might be one of the most synergies we've seen with one ability in the game. And I don't even know if there's an exotic that will make it even better. That's the scary thing, because if there is an exotic, god damn it, you're not going to want to get hit by this hammer. You are not going to want to be anywhere near the vicinity of this hammer. I personally love the way all of these stack, and the fact that Roaring Flames applies to your grenades and your super, because it makes it feel like you chain all of these abilities to optimize your DPS. And I think that more things like that being thrown into the game are a good thing. Feeling like your abilities matter and using them frequently is something that Destiny definitely needs to keep as a core, feeling or feature or motif in this game. Moving on now to the Burning Maul, this super is great when used properly because it's kind of got 2 attacks and 2 different times you should be using them. If you want to burst down one enemy and just kind of get it out of the way, using the R2 smash will do higher damage and send out a tornado that does kind of AoE damage as it flies through enemies and eventually stops and spins around doing damage. There's also the spinning attack, which is higher DPS, and you want to use this for sustained damage against things like a boss. Now, I personally think the best combo is to throw down the big smash, get the AoE going, and then start spinning because it does the most damage, but you also want to make sure that you have your Roaring Flames buff active, because if you don't, you're throwing away about half of your damage. When you have the Roaring Flame buff active, you do much, much more damage, and honestly, without that buff, I find Burning Maul a little bit lackluster. Overall, I think it's an amazing super, but you just gotta make sure you have those stacks going into it. I think that this clip was a pretty good example of why you would want that buff, because instead of one banging the knight, I pop him into the air and I waste a lot of time and super energy that I could have used to slay other things. Now for the rest of the video, I want to talk about some of the pros and cons and where I think this class is going to excel, so you can get a pretty good idea of what you're getting yourself into if you decide to play the Burning Maul. My personal opinion is this is a kind of mid-tier enemy slayer. Or, if I was going to give it another role, I would say single target DPS. The reason why I say this is, even though you have some pretty solid grenades, especially when you have that roaring flame buff, and you can spin around and shoot out a fire tornado from your Burning Maul, you're not going to be as good at clearing waves and multiple groups of enemies as something like the Nova Warp or the Stormcaller, or even the Arc Strider, really. It just doesn't have the mobility that the other classes do, or the sheer AoE damage. Yes, you can do it. No, you're not the best at it. If I was going to focus on anything as this new Sunbreaker class, it would be taking out things like captains, knights, wizards, and maybe an ogre here and there. Because of that high single target damage, as well as the element, you're going to be not only popping shields, but most likely putting most of these enemies extremely low HP. You also have like a 15-second cooldown before that resets, so even if you don't kill it with the first hammer, you can slide into it, heal, and hit it again. And if that doesn't work, hit it again. And it's almost like you're using a shotgun multiple times, or even Whisper of the Worm. You're going to hit so hard and so many times without even using ammo. So, if you look at something like a Nightfall, or like the Whisper of the Worm quest, where there's a ton of these really tanky enemies with shields, you essentially have a shotgun, or even a rocket launcher in your back pocket with no investment. No ammo lost. You can probably go through multiple missions continually hammering things and murdering them for your team. I think that it is such a unique thing and such a powerful thing. You're going to see this in like raid carries, because you never run out of ammo and you can still deal with a lot of these yellow health bar enemies that are ramming themselves down your throat. All in all, I think it's a great PvE class, and personally, I think it's going to be better in PvE than it is in PvP. Just because, you know, a lot of the things are tough. Like, you're not going to be hitting all these hammers and, like, running through teams. Maybe you will. I mean, God, maybe you will. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel like it's going to thrive there. And one of the reasons why is because of the super. Now, I want to show you this clip just really quickly from Gambit, because it kind of showcases my worry. It's that it doesn't hit as hard as I thought it would. I dive into this player, I spin around, and it doesn't quite kill them. Now, I played that very poorly. I think, you know, my decision-making there was stupid. I fall off the map. But if I'm diving into someone like that aggressive, and I don't kill them, that scares the shit out of me. Especially when you compare it to something like an Arc Strider. Because an Arc Strider could do the same thing, and it's going to melt 3 different players. The AoE of this thing and the commitment time of it and things like that, I'm kind of scared. However, I wasn't able to test out the smashing kind of R2 attack where you send out the fire tornado, because maybe that's more devastating. Maybe that's the main attack. But there weren't a lot of opportunities where people were going to just stand there and take it. Right? There's an animation, the damage has to travel down a line. I just don't know if this is going to be an amazing PvP skill. And actually, on top of that, before I forget, one of the reasons why this class is even good is because of the synergy with Roaring Flame and getting the healing and all those things, and it's never going to happen in PvP. How many times are you going to throw a perfect grenade, get 2 or 3 stacks on it, and then get that boosted hammer damage off? I mean, maybe it works out. Maybe you land that perfect grenade and all of a sudden your hammer is a one-shot, and this is a god tier, you know, PvP class. But the chances that that even happens, the chances that you can make that happen consistently are almost nothing. And because of this, I honestly think that week after week, you're going to be seeing less and less of the Burning Maul in PvP. The Striker Titan is better, the regular Sunbreaker is better, hell, even with all the melee registration issues, the Sentinel Titan is better. So, if you want to be a single target damage dealer, dominate in PvE, and you like using multiple different melee abilities, this is the class for you. We're almost at that 10-minute mark, which means the video's almost done. You gotta hit that 10-minute mark. Now, If you're bored and excited and at work and you want to see another video, check out my Sentinel Titan guide, which I just posted, and I have an exotic review coming out right away. Make sure to subscribe for more, and thank you so much for supporting me. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.